What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the LEC with it starting soon, and specifically why I think Mad Lions are actually most likely to win the first split. And this is obviously anytime in the LEC you don't predict G2 to win, it's like a big deal because it's G2. It's the most successful team of all time, and well, in Europe obviously, and it's like not even close, right? Like obviously Fnatic was great for years before, but as soon as G2 came on the scene, the Perks era into the Caps era, it's just straight dominance. Um, and like I think it's coming to an end. I actually think it's coming to an end a little bit. And I do think G2 is going to be a really strong team. And I think they're going to win at least one split this year. I just don't think it's going to be the first one. And yeah, so let's start with G2, right? Because G2, it's great. They've got Caps, obviously, which is a big deal. Best player in, I don't like saying best European player of all time because I still think the dominant Parks era is better. But Caps is right now, obviously, and he's one of two at least. And there's no one else really close. Like whoever number three is really isn't close to 1 and 2. So and Perks obviously is past it. So they've got the best player. They've got the best player in the league by far, and for that reason they should win. But the bigger issue is that I don't know. I don't actually think their other players are as like so much better than the competition, right? Like I never really thought Hans Sama was as great as he is. He's always going to be like top three, but he's not like one and just better than everybody else, right? Which is the weird thing about him. He's really good, but he's never been dominant in winning, especially like before he came to G2. And similar thing, Broken Blade, always been top three, but he's like it wouldn't surprise me if there's a better ADC or if there's a better top laner than them. Top lane maybe would surprise me because top lane LEC is so weak. Um, but it's those two players that they've retained are not like just completely dominant in their roles. And on top of that, the new players, we don't really know how Scumon's going to do. He could very easily be the next Yike and look really really good in the LEC for the most part, or he could end up like I mean G2 hasn't had a jungler like this, but I'm trying to think like when TSM kept hiring people like Bjergsen with Bjergsen like they had guys like Acadian or they had guys like Mike Young who just didn't really work. Acadian actually worked a lot better than Mike Young, but so that's feel bad for putting him in the same sentence, but you know what I mean. Like he there's a real like his floor is a lot lower than a lot of other junglers, for example, and so we don't know. Even though I think he's going to be pretty good. And similarly, Labrov is really good, but I don't really think Labrov is better than Mickey, especially in terms of just winning games. Like, Mickey really knows how to win games, and he is one of those guys that can just, when he's on form, he can just take over games and win you games. And Labrov is not as much that. So I don't, even though they've got Caps, he's going to be, there's a very real chance where Caps is the only player on that team who's the best player in his role. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to win in the split, especially when they're still getting continuity down with new players, and especially specifically like a new bot lane, new mid jungle. Like those are important parts when you got to make two of those new things work at the same time. It can take some time, and I actually think they're not going to win. Obviously, like you can put this in percentages. I'd probably give them like 35% chance to win, between 35 and 40% chance to win, which is still obviously a really high chance when you consider how many teams there are. But it's not like previous years where it's like, oh yeah, G2 is going to win. Like last year, for example, you pretty much knew G2 was going to win. And let's and with that being said, let's talk about the team who I think is probably a higher chance. I would say at least 40%, maybe a little higher. It's Mad Lions. Like I think that this Mad Lions team, I don't think they're going to be this dominant European team and they're going to be the next G2, but I think they're going to win probably this first split and maybe another one. It wouldn't surprise me if they were if they were first or second seed to Worlds, and I expect them to be second seed at least. And the crazy thing, like I don't even think that's that crazy. I thought at Worlds, I thought Super was pretty solid. I think obviously LUA is really good. He's another player that just knows how to win games, especially when he's on form. And with the addition of JoJo, like the fact that they were as good as they were with Frescowi, who, if we're being real, was like pretty awful. He did stylistically fit with the team pretty well based on the games that I saw, but he just wasn't a very good player. And JoJo is a great player. He is probably the second most talented. Well, it's hard to say because Humanoid is also extremely talented, but that guy mentally just seems like he mentally seems like he doesn't have it. Whereas JoJo seems like much more of a winner mentally, and and JoJo is very easily just as talented, if not more talented than Humanoid. Um, so I think there's a really real reason where JoJo is probably a top three mid in the league in a split where this is actually looking like a much stronger mid lane split than some of the previous ones for LEC in recent memory. But I think he's going to be top three. I think there's a real chance where he looks like even the best mid at times this year. And it may not show up in the stats, like his KDA might not be number one and all this stuff. But JoJo, man, he just makes plays that win games. That's what he does. And you see that, and I think that's going to work really well with LUA because LUA is really good with direction and all this stuff. That JoJo's more of a, not a silent playmaker, but he's more of a secondary playmaker in the sense that when he's got that jungler who's giving him direction, giving him information, feeding him how to win, he's going to make plays with that information. And I think that's why he's going to work really well with Elyoya. So even in games where he might not be having the best laning performance or he might not be having the best individual play, I think he's still going to find angles to make plays in those games and help the team win the games, which I think is going to be really good. I think Alvaro, how you say his name, is also really, really good. I was really impressed by him at Worlds, and I think he's going to get even better. I like, especially now that he's playing with like a much stronger mid lane, I think that's going to really open up his playmaking potential and his roaming potential in a way that it wasn't before. I'm really hoping that JoJo is not calling him to do all these things, and he kind of lets him free reign to do what he wants. Because when I think that was the best part of Frescowi, Frescowi really wasn't demanding any resources at all. He was just saying, "Hey, I'm just going to get fisted," and that's cool. I'm cool with that. Um, and if that happens, and they just let the three of those guys just kind of naturally figure it out as opposed to forcing it, I think those three guys are really going to take over the league. Um, and then you've got Suba, who does a pretty good job of just winning the game when he's got these leads, kind of like Danny used to do for JoJo. Um, and I think he's really gonna succeed with this team as well. Where there's like the pressure on him is like way low now because there's so many other ways to win, right? In this game, I do think that while Merwin can win you games, it's not what you want to be. I will say that is now the one point of I don't know about, like question mark, I guess, where man, I've not been impressed with Merwin. It's cool that he's got different picks. It's cool. I think that he's another guy that can make plays, which is cool. Like he's another guy that there are some players where you can you see this in some players where I don't know if it's because they're so used to being ahead or what it is, but they are much like some players are better with less gold than other players, right? And Merwin is a player who is better at making making the best out of bad situations than others, but he's not going to get that many good situations. And it does seem like he does require some of these draft resources, which it's not great. Now, on the flip side, like I said, LEC top lane is weak, and so it might not matter that much. And that's also part of the reason where I'm like, a lot of teams' weakest player is going to be their top laner. So there's a real chance that he also can just not get carried, but his impact doesn't need to be as high because the counterpart he's playing against is also not impacting the game that much. And as a result, like I think he could very easily complement these guys well. And it's just, man, JoJo knows how to win games, man. When you've got a lot of guys that are just good at winning games, like from all points in the game, that's when you really succeed as a team. Because, like, I mean, we've seen JoJo win in NA. We've seen, the dominance that he can have when he has a jungler that knows what he's talking about, that can kind of help him take over the game. And it was rough on C9. Like the C9 split last year was rough in aspects where um, he didn't have anybody else that was doing anything. It was a really rough watch, man. Like you could see him like making bad plays, but it looked like nobody else on the team had an idea. Had an iota of an idea how to win the damn game. So I don't put the blame on him that much. I think that's never really going to be the case in this team, and I think that's going to be really really good for him. And yeah, I think the other team, I guess we got to talk about um, is Fnatic, which look, Fnatic's a good team. They're a good team. They got a lot of really talented players. I'm a big Izork fan. I think that guy is really, really, really good. I thought he was really, really good for years. Um, and even when it was him in VTO, when VTO won MVP, and everyone, I was like, damn, this Razor guy is kind of carrying him. But there's too many guys. I think they upgraded support, but there's too many guys on that team that they're not. I don't want to call them losers, but they're or chokers or whatever. But for some reason, those guys can't do it. They can't do it. I don't know what to tell you. Razor, he can't seem to do it. And the bigger one, Upset. That man can't do it. I am not an Upset believer. I was like, this guy, he doesn't look the same as he did when he was younger. He doesn't look like he's got that same kind of fire. He doesn't look like he's got that same kind of killer instinct. He doesn't look like he's got that same kind of I'm gonna win us the game. And look, the best players need that. Like one of the reasons that Han Sama has been good for so long is that even though when Han Sama makes these crazy mistakes, he does make but he's still got that. He's still got that killer instinct in him sometimes where he'll just play a Draven game or a Kalista game or a Lucian game. He'll just say, nah, I'm gonna make the play, I'm gonna win you the game. When Upset was younger, he had that. I don't see it anymore. I see a lot of playing for KDA, especially in the last year. I see a lot of, you know, I don't want to say it looks like he cares about what people think about him, but he doesn't look like he's got the same kind of killer that he needs. And maybe he proves me wrong this year, but damn, I mean, there's a reason this guy's been last place like what, two, three times before. Like, it's rough. It's rough watching him play these days, and this is the best, maybe the best team he's ever had. Um, and I know that there's a lot of people who think really highly of him, but at a certain point, like I was a I'm a big believer that this reckless play style is not conducive to long term winning, right? Like when you get too in your head about, oh, I'm an ADC, I gotta just not die. Like it's not what you want to do. You have to thread that needle where you're on the line of, I need to not die, but I need to also be ready to flash in and just make the play. And he's too far on the other side right now. He's too far on the other side. And he's playing with Mickey, who's going to make a lot of plays and set up a lot of great plays for him. Caps could set up plays really well. I think even BB could set up plays well. But it's just, it's not the killer you need to win championships. And I think there's a reason that he hasn't won any championships because he doesn't really have that. Similar thing, Humanoid, man. I don't want to call Humanoid a choker, but this guy, he can't, like, from all accounts, he chokes and he tilts. And look, if you're mentally that weak, it's hard to win rings. It's just hard to win rings when you mentally don't have it. And that's, look, I don't know Humanoid personally, but that's what people say about him. And it looks like it in his gameplay sometimes. Sometimes he looks like the best player in the goddamn world. In other days, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you picking the champions you're picking? Why are you, playing the way that you're playing? You're almost, it almost looks like you're inting on stage sometimes, and you can't have that. You need to be locked in when you're winning championships, I think. And I just don't know if you're gonna be locked in. I actually think Oscar's really good. I think Oscar is a little underrated because I think he's one of the best top laners in the LEC. And Fnatic are really lucky with how great he actually is. It's sad because I don't think the team allows him to be as good as he could be, but yeah, man, I think I'm predicting a second or third place from Fnatic, but I just don't see these guys winning. It's like if I'm giving, I'd give them a 5% chance maybe, and then the rest of the rest of the percentage is split up between like KC. Maybe if Larson and Moran can catch fire again, that's maybe something that could happen now that control majors are back. But Larson doesn't. We haven't seen Larson play Hwei, which is weird. It's I don't really think any of the teams are going to make that much noise, at least for winning the title. I don't really believe in the new BDS that much. I think they're going to be like fine. I think there's a real chance I can get top 3, but I don't really see them winning. And yeah, all the signs really do point to this Mad Lions victory. And so yeah, I really think Mad Lion. I think look, I don't think they're going to win 3 splits, but damn, I think this is going to be a good Mad Lions team, and I think they're going to win the first split, and G2 is going to look like they're on a slide. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe, and talk to y'all later.